The silent canvas. Sophia Bennett's hands were calloused but steady as she wiped the smudges from the glass display case. Around her, the Reynolds Art Gallery gleamed with polished marble floors and dramatic lighting that showcased paintings worth more than she'd earn in a lifetime. 6 months of cleaning these hallowed halls, and she still felt like a ghost among masterpieces. "Ms. Bennett, the North Wing needs attention before the preview tonight," called Vivian, the gallery manager, not bothering to look up from her tablet. "And please remember to remain invisible during the event." "Yes, of course," Sophia nodded, gathering her cleaning supplies. Invisibility was her specialty now. At 34, with dreams deferred and a 9-year-old daughter to support, she had mastered the art of fading into backgrounds. What Vivian and the others didn't know was that Sophia's eyes didn't just see surfaces to be polished. They saw composition, technique, the whispered secrets between brushstrokes. Before life's complications, before her husband abandoned them, before her daughter Emma's medical bills, Sophia had been an artist herself, with promising exhibitions and a scholarship to Florence. As she moved to the North Wing, she paused before a striking abstract piece. The new acquisition was all violent reds and surprising pockets of light, beautiful and heartbreaking. It's expressing rage against confinement, wouldn't you agree? The deep voice startled her. Julian Blackwood stood in the doorway, his tall frame casting a long shadow. The gallery owner rarely appeared during daylight hours, preferring to evaluate new pieces in solitude. His reputation for brutal honesty had made artists weep and critics fume. At 42, his success was matched only by his reclusiveness. I'm sorry, Mr. Blackwood, I was just— No, please. I asked your opinion." His gray eyes were unnervingly focused, as if she were a puzzle he couldn't solve. Sophia hesitated. Staff didn't share opinions with Julian Blackwood. "Actually, I see more grief than rage. The red is violent, yes, but see how it protects those small spaces of light? It's about preserving hope when everything else is burning down." Something shifted in his expression. Surprise, perhaps, or recognition. Interesting. A single word. Yet somehow weighted. "You're new." 6 months, sir. "I clean the displays and floors." "And you understand abstract expressionism?" It wasn't a question, but Sophia answered anyway. "I studied art once." She turned away, uncomfortable under his scrutiny. "I should finish before the event." Julian nodded, but as she walked away, she felt his gaze lingering. What she didn't see was how he moved to the painting, tilting his head to observe it from her perspective, or how he quietly instructed Vivian to find out more about the cleaning woman who saw light preserved in fire. That evening, as wealthy patrons filled the gallery, Sophia polished and disappeared, unaware that her silent canvas was about to be splashed with unexpected color. Brushstrokes of dignity, the Reynolds Gallery's quarterly exhibition preview, attracted the most influential names in the art world. Champagne flowed freely as collectors and critics wandered among new acquisitions, their conversations a symphony of practiced opinions and calculated networking. Sophia moved discreetly through the crowd, collecting abandoned glasses and wiping away fingerprints that marred the display cases. Her uniform, black pants and a white button-down shirt, was designed to blend with the shadows. Tonight, however, invisibility proved impossible. "Excuse me," called a woman in a burgundy gown, her diamond earrings catching the light as she beckoned imperiously. "There's a smudge on this frame. It's distracting from the piece." Sophia approached with her cloth. "I'll take care of it right away, ma'am." The woman, Penelope Whitmore, a trustee of the gallery, studied Sophia with narrowed eyes. "Haven't I seen you somewhere before?" "Your face seems familiar." Before Sophia could respond, a man in the group laughed. "Darling, all the help looks the same after enough champagne." Heat crawled up Sophia's neck as she focused on the frame, willing her hands not to tremble. She recognized Penelope now. She had attended Sophia's final exhibition years ago before everything fell apart. "No, I'm certain." Penelope snapped her fingers. "You're that promising artist from the Westbrook show. The one who disappeared. What was your name?" "Sophia, Sonia." "Sophia Bennett," she answered quietly. Another woman in the group gasped theatrically. "You mean to tell me you went from having your own exhibition to cleaning ours?" How deliciously tragic. The group's laughter cut through the ambient noise of the gallery. Nearby conversations paused as heads turned. "I always said your work was derivative," Penelope added, swirling her champagne. though I suppose even derivative artists don't usually fall quite this far. What happened? Couldn't hack the real art world? Sophia's throat tightened. Life happened, Ms. Whitmore, if you'll excuse me. No, please stay. Penelope's smile was sharp. The gallery should consider putting you on display. The fallen artist. Very avant-garde, don't you think, everyone? As fresh laughter erupted, Julian Blackwood materialized beside Sophia. The room seemed to still at his arrival. Julian rarely socialized at these events. Actually, Penelope, he said, his voice carrying easily through the hushed space, Sophia's artistic journey is far more interesting than you realize. He turned to Sophia, something unreadable in his expression. Ms. Bennett isn't just an employee here. She's the artist behind our newest acquisition, the piece we unveiled tonight. Gasps rippled through the gathering. Sophia stared at Julian in confusion. The unsigned painting in the central gallery, Julian continued, was created by the woman you've been mocking. I acquired it from a private collection last month. Perhaps instead of laughing at her circumstances, you might consider why her derivative work is now the centerpiece of my gallery. He offered his arm to a stunned Sophia. Would you care to discuss your technique with our guests? They seem quite interested now. Colors of Truth. The gallery's private office was a sanctuary of calm amid the chaos Julian had created. Sophia paced while he closed the door, shutting out the murmurs and stares. Why would you say that? Her voice trembled. That painting isn't mine. Julian loosened his tie, seeming almost uncomfortable. It resembled your style. What I imagined your work might look like based on how you described the abstract piece yesterday. So you lied to humiliate Penelope Whitmore? I lied to stop her from humiliating you. He gestured toward a small cabinet. Drink? Sophia shook her head. I have a daughter to get home to. Emma is only 9. My neighbor watches her during my shifts. Something softened in Julian's expression at the mention of Emma. He moved to his desk and opened a drawer, retrieving a worn gallery catalog. Sophia Bennett, Westbrook Gallery 2016. Your exhibition was extraordinary. I never forgot it. Sophia stared at the catalog, her exhibition, her former life. You were there? Anonymously. I was different then, he hesitated. I wasn't ready to approach you. And now you announce to the art world that I created your centerpiece? She pressed her fingers to her temples. Mr. Blackwood, Julian, please. Julian, then. I haven't painted in years. I can't afford supplies, much less time. My daughter needs stability. And you provide it by cleaning displays instead of creating what belongs in them. There was no judgment in his tone, only a quiet understanding that startled her. The silence stretched between them, filled with unasked questions. Finally, Julian spoke. My wife died 7 years ago, cancer. She was an artist too, talented, vibrant. After she was gone, I couldn't bear to be around creative energy. I became the businessman everyone sees now. Cold, detached. Until you saw that painting today and thought of me, Sophia said softly. He nodded. Until I met someone who still sees light preserved in fire. Sophia sank into a chair, overwhelmed. What happens tomorrow? I still need this job, Julian. Tomorrow we fix my impulsive announcement. He leaned against his desk. We commission you to create a new piece. Something that will validate tonight's claim and reintroduce Sophia Bennett to the art world. I told you I don't have time. You'll work here. After hours. Full salary plus commission, and will accommodate Emma's schedule. His eyes held a challenge. Unless you're afraid to paint again. Sophia recognized the emotion behind his words, not manipulation but recognition. He had seen the hunger in her eyes when she looked at art. The same hunger he had buried after his loss. And if I fail, she whispered. You won't, he said simply. But if you need to hear it, you can always go back to cleaning. No one will ever know. The office fell silent save for the distant sounds of the continuing gala. 2 broken people surrounded by beautiful things, contemplating the possibility of creating something new from their shared understanding of loss. Shaded Perspectives. 3 weeks after Julian's unexpected declaration, the back room of the Reynolds Gallery had transformed into Sophia's studio. Canvas stretched over wooden frames stood in various stages of completion, their surfaces alive with colors that had remained dormant in her imagination for years. Emma often accompanied her after school, doing homework at a small table Julian had installed specifically for her. Tonight, Sophia worked alone, Julian watching from the doorway as her brush danced across canvas. "You never told me why you stopped," he said, entering with 2 cups of tea. Sophia accepted the cup, her fingers stained with cobalt blue. "Thomas, my ex-husband, was also an artist. When Emma was born with a heart condition, we needed stability. One of us had to take a traditional job." She sipped the tea. "He resented giving up his art for mundane work, so I sacrificed mine instead. And then he left anyway," Julian finished, understanding in his eyes. "When Emma was 5. The medical bills were overwhelming." She shrugged, the gesture failing to convey the devastation she'd felt. "He's in Barcelona now, I think. Sends postcards twice a year." Julian studied the canvas before them, a landscape breaking apart and reforming, reality fracturing into something more truthful. "This is exceptional, Sophia. It's as if those years of silence only made your voice stronger." Their gazes met, a current of understanding passing between them. These quiet evenings had formed a bond neither had expected. Julian sharing stories of his late wife, Sophia describing her hopes for Emma's future. Something tender was growing in the spaces between their words. The moment shattered as the studio door swung open. "Julian, darling, Vivian said I'd find you hiding back here. Eleanor Blackwood." Julian's sister stopped abruptly at the sight of them standing close together. Her perfectly sculpted eyebrows arched as she assessed Sophia's paint-splattered appearance. "Interrupting something, am I?" "Eleanor." Julian's voice cooled noticeably. "This is Sophia Bennett, our commissioned artist for the spring exhibition." "The cleaning woman?" Eleanor's smile was polite, but her eyes were glacial. "How fascinating. When Mother mentioned your little announcement at the preview, I assumed it was another of your impulses." "Sophia was established long before she joined our staff," Julian said firmly. Eleanor circled the studio, examining the canvases with a practiced eye. Quaint, reminiscent of several better-known artists, though lacking their technical precision. Sophia maintained her composure. "Art criticism is subjective, Ms. Blackwood. I'm grateful for your perspective." "Speaking of perspective," Eleanor turned to her brother. "The family board meeting is tomorrow. Mother expects you to address this situation. The Reynolds name has certain associations, after all." After Eleanor departed, silence engulfed the studio. Julian's jaw was tight with anger. "Your family disapproves," Sophia stated simply. "My family disapproves of anything that threatens their concept of status," he replied. "My father built this gallery from nothing. Eleanor and my mother have spent decades trying to erase his humble beginnings. And now you're associating with the help," Sophia added with a sad smile. Julian moved closer, his hand hesitantly covering hers. "Is that all this is? Association?" Before she could answer, her phone chimed, Emma's neighbor calling. Her daughter's heart condition had flared up. She needed to go home immediately. As Sophia rushed to gather her things, Julian called his driver. "Take my car, it's faster." At her door, he caught her hand. "Tomorrow's board meeting doesn't matter, Sophia. What matters is what we're creating here. And I don't mean just the art." Sophia looked at him, torn between the connection they were forming and the realities of their different worlds. "Julian, even if your family accepts me, your world isn't built for a single mother with a chronically ill child. I can't afford complications." "Some complications are worth facing," he said softly. "Don't close this door before we've seen what might lie beyond it." As Julian's car disappeared into the night, Sophia hurried inside to Emma. Her heart divided between the daughter who needed her stability and the unexpected chance at a life she'd thought forever lost. Masterpiece unveiled. The Reynolds Gallery hummed with anticipation on opening night of Sophia's exhibition. Resurrections read the elegant signage, her first solo show in 8 years. Each painting told a story of rebirth, of light emerging from darkness. In the private viewing room, the Blackwood family board convened for one final confrontation before doors opened to the public. "This is absurd. Julian," his mother declared, her voice cold as marble. "First you claim this. Cleaning woman created our centerpiece. Then you commission an entire exhibition. Now you're suggesting she join the gallery roster permanently?" Eleanor circled the crowning piece of the collection. a portrait of Julian and Emma sitting together at her homework table, their faces illuminated with matching expressions of concentration. The board has concerns about your judgment. Your feelings for this woman are clouding your artistic discretion. Julian's expression remained composed. 8 years ago, before tragedy struck my life, I attended Sophia's first exhibition. That night I purchased every unsold piece anonymously. Gasps echoed through the room. Those acquisitions, which have tripled in value, are displayed in my home, not because of their investment potential, but because her work spoke to something genuine when everything else in our world felt manufactured. He gestured to the paintings surrounding them. My feelings aren't clouding my judgment. They're finally clearing it. The gallery doors swung open as Sophia entered with Emma, whose cheeks held healthy color after her successful heart procedure, a procedure Julian had ensured was performed by the country's leading pediatric cardiologist. Eleanor stepped forward, blocking their path. This gallery has hosted royalty and renowned artists. Now we're featuring the woman who cleaned their fingerprints from our glass. Yes, Sophia replied, her voice steady. The same hands that cleaned your displays created what now hangs on your walls. Perhaps that's the most honest art of all, knowing both the height of recognition and the depth of invisibility. Emma squeezed her mother's hand. Mom's paintings make people feel things they forgot were inside them. Isn't that what art is supposed to do? The wisdom from the child silenced the room. Julian moved to stand beside Sophia and Emma, forming a tableau that mirrored the portrait on the wall. The Reynolds Gallery was founded by my father, a janitor's son who believed beauty belonged to everyone. We've forgotten that, Sophia reminded me. He faced his family, no longer the cold, detached businessman, but a man transformed by love. Tonight, we either return to that vision or I leave to create a new one, with the woman who taught me that true masterpieces aren't just hung on walls, but lived in the courage of ordinary days. Outside, the crowds gathered. Inside, a family stood at the crossroads of tradition and transformation, while two artists who had once lost everything discovered that their greatest work would be the life they created together.